Welcome back to Up the Villa podcast. This is our Up the Villa football phone-in for a massive week ahead. So I felt like it would only be fitting to get the thoughts of the Villa fans leading into this week. So we've got Mitch joining us first up. How you doing, mate?
Not too bad, thanks, Luke. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. But the thing is, when we came on, Justin, we was all sort of like chatting backstage. I actually, for some reason, feel proper nervous. I don't know why. I don't know whether this is the first episode of the week, but I can feel the magnitude already. How are you feeling?
I must admit, I feel as though I'm shaking sitting here talking to you. It's not the best, but what can we say? You know, this is what we've been banging on about for a few months now, and you know, it's in our hands. It's in our hands. We've got nothing to lose now. It's one game, isn't it? It's one cup final. The players seem up for it on the social media accounts, and that they're all putting up one final to go and one cup final left. Just got to give it our all, haven't we?
Yeah, it's gonna be even for the fans, it's gonna be a great build-up, isn't it? You know, rocking up at Villa Park. Hopefully, it's going to be sunny. A big game. This is why we support this football club for big moments. You know, we all enjoy the social. We all enjoy majority of the time everything else but the football. But now it's the football that we're all excited about going to watch. And for so many years, it's been the complete opposite, hasn't it? You know, how many times have you possibly been to an away day and every away fan always says, I love the day, but the game's just the game. So
the journey home's what sports, isn't it? When you've gone there, I mean, we've gone through it all, haven't we? You know, your Boltons, your Wigans, your Sheffield Wednesdays, we've Rotherhams. You know, there's been highs and lows, but more lows than highs, shall we say? But this is what we're in it for. This is why we all support the club that we support. This is why we love football. And like I say, it's 90 minutes. I think from Emery, you don't really need to do a team talk, to be honest. Just show them the league table and say, look, this is where we are. This is where we want. Do you want to play in Europe or not? Go out there, 90 minutes, give it your all. There's not going to be any questions for the fans and the support. I think it's going to be electric. You know, the fans. You know, us fans will blow the roof off on Sunday. I've read a few things online about the coach arriving at between 20 past 1 and I think it's 1:30, and people saying get yourself to the ground early. I think that's a great idea, to be honest, just to show the fans and just to show the players and the manager how much this club wants Europe. But yeah, it just can't come quick enough, can he?
No. And you speak about like the motivation and sometimes, you know, that plays a big role in football. You know, it's okay looking at 11v11, but when one side wants it a lot more than what the other side want it, you can sometimes see as the game's going who wants it more. So, you know, I saw a little video earlier and, you know, we've got two players now in this current team that played in that playoff final, Tyrone Mings and John McGinn. And what a journey both of those players have been on. Aston Villa getting promoted. They've had struggles in the Premier League. We've been involved in relegation battles. We've had so many topsy-turvy moments. But, you know, for Mings and McGinn now to be going into this game with this club that they've played for, they've played for this club more than any other player that's currently in the Villa side. So how do you think they'll be feeling going into it?
I think they'll be buzzing, as you say, Luke, that famous word of yours, buzzing. I mean, you know, you look at the journey that Tyrone Mings has been on. You know, we all wanted him to stay. He's had his critics at times. I've got to be honest. I've never really criticised him. Yeah, he has a mistake every now and then, but for me, he's colossal. We'd be lost without him. Through the good times and through the bad, he's always been there. He loves the club. He loves the fans. He speaks well for the club and on behalf of the club as well. There's two people, I guess, in all of it that you want to make Europe, and that's like what you mentioned, Mings and McGinn. They deserve it. And to be fair, I'd love Mings to get there just to be playing in Europe as well, because for all the critics, you know, I have Albion fans and friends and that go on. Whenever he makes a mistake, it's all Mings has made a mistake. They don't ever say anything when he's had an absolute game of his life at Anfield. You know, when he's been colossal for the last however many months, you don't hear fans then saying, "Oh, Mings has been brilliant." It's just when he makes a mistake, and I can't see any reason why he can't get into that England team either. Do I think Southgate will pick him? Probably not. But for me, he should be in there.
Yeah, I mean, touching on Mings, I mean, his performance against Liverpool was absolutely outstanding. You know, outstanding, and it wasn't even the thing that was impressing me most was not blocks, nothing like it was his interceptions. He's coming out from his position, which was because what you'd normally think is retreat, stay in a line, don't move, just wait for it to come to you, and that's it. But he's that confident now. He's coming out and stepping out and trying to win that ball off of Salah or off of Diaz or whoever was in and around him, a Gakpo, and it was just absolutely amazing. And I always think of Leeds United when I think of Mings, because that stick that he got that one time at Ellen Road when they just kept singing his name, that he's absolutely rubbish. And I look at him now and I just think, you'd do anything for Tyrone Mings at the back with that defence. Like, how can they sing his name and chant and say all that stuff about him when they've conceded like 70 goals? Do you know what I mean? So I think the thing
for me, from Mings' point of view, that I'd like him to add more is goals from corners, and that I think that's the only thing now that he really needs to add to his game. Everything else now, I don't think you can criticise whatsoever.
Yeah, and I think that is that sort of being an elite centre back and then adding that final missing piece, isn't it? You know, I look at someone like Harry Maguire, right? I don't rate Harry Maguire really, but what does Harry Maguire offer? He's always offering that big slab head, isn't he? That big slab head. He's worth a goal, isn't he?
He's a bit the same. Craig Dawson. You know, he's been round the block and that, but he always seems to get his head there. I'm not saying he's a good defender as such, he isn't, but he always seems to get on the score sheet, and you're always wary of him. That same as Maguire, you're thinking could score from a corner here. With Mings and Konza, you don't really feel that them two, although he scored the other week, but you don't really feel that them two are going to get their head on it and score. For the joys of Martin Larsson again.
Definitely. So finally then, what's your vibe going into Sunday?
I think we've got a few things now. I think with Brighton winning like they did in midweek, I don't think that Brighton really they've got nothing to play for now. For me, I look at it and think the top six, they can't get any further up the league table, they can't drop. They've played in front of their own fans. All right, they've got the away fans, but they've done it in front of their own fans. I wouldn't be surprised if they might rest a couple of players. I know they've got the summer off, but I'm guessing they've all probably been on the pop this week and last weekend anyway.
And they have got City on Wednesday as well.
City on Wednesday, yeah.
So, I would. They're at home as well on Wednesday. So yeah. I would imagine it's full strength on Wednesday.
Couple out on Sunday with a bit of luck.
I think so. He does do that anyway. He does alternate his lineups quite a bit as well. So so what were you going to say about Spurs?
And I think with Tottenham going to Leeds, that's not going to be an easy one. Leeds are fighting for their life down there. Leeds know they've got to get. I think they've got to get a win. They might be able to get a draw depending on how Everton go on goal difference. But they've got to come out the traps firing on all cylinders. And the way it sort of looks, I don't think Tottenham are really that bothered about the Europa League conference anyway. So it's all to play for. It's all in our hands. We've got nothing to lose now. We've just got to go out there, 90 minutes, give it our all, and Europa, here we come.
Definitely.
See everyone in 2024 for the final.
See you there, mate.
See you later. Up the Villa.
Ellis, how are you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
I'm good. How are you feeling then ahead of Sunday? Massive game. What's your vibe? Confident? Nervous?
It's a bit of both, to be honest. I'm quietly confident, but also the nerves are just kicking in, and it's because it's constantly on your mind. You're going through how many different scenarios throughout the week of, are we going to win, draw, lose? What's going to happen in the Spurs game? What's going to happen elsewhere? And it's it's a little bit nervous, but it's a game that probably points us in our direction. It's in our favour. Home team. We historically do quite well against Brighton, and they've not really got much to play for, so it points in our favour. But when things go in our favour, we have got a history of messing up. But that's sort of changed under Emery, so it's a little bit of getting used to this new style of basically new Aston Villa under Emery. But there's always the potential of a banana slip with this club, but I'm just praying it doesn't happen.
So, I mean, you're younger than Hannah that comes on our show, so this has got to be one of the biggest games, barring the playoffs, that you'll have seen, really. You know, I mean, for you to be... I mean, we had a look. There's a tweet doing the rounds at the minute that apparently Villa would be in pot 3. Juventus are in pot 1. I mean, if we got through the qualifier, we could potentially have Juventus in the group stage. I mean,
what a welcome!
That's like an elite fixture. That is.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear fans saying like, Europa Conference, but Juventus v Aston Villa, home and away.
That's
huge, man.
Yeah.
And I mean, even in pot 2, Lille in pot 2. They won Liga a couple of years ago, didn't they?
Exactly, yeah. So, and they've got some decent players in that team as well. So it definitely wouldn't be not impressive to win it. Like if West Ham win it, it's still very, very impressive. And I think just qualifying for it, especially from where Emery picked us up, obviously we were 16th, to then be with a chance of qualifying for Europe, that's absolutely massive, and it just shows just how much he's done. Because I don't think, we basically disrespected Emery when he first came in, because we were all like, it'll be next season that we look to improve the squad, and next season we go for Europe. But he's basically just ignored all that and gone for Europe straight away, and long may it continue.
Yeah, and I think that's, you mentioned about earlier about like the fans changing their mentality, fans changing the way we perceive our team to be, and I think Emery's way in thinking is the right way, because how many times do we hear fans saying, yeah, but next season we can do this, and let's, pre-season we'll do this, but the here and now, like, the season weren't dead and buried, was it? So I think that's we've got an elite manager, and an elite manager has an elite mindset, and I think
exactly, and it shows the mentality of Gerrard with the Chelsea should be beating us, wiping the floor with us, whatever. Yeah. To have this Emery who gives respect to no one, we can go out and beat anyone on our day. Man City, Arsenal, Juventus in the Europa League, we can go out and beat anyone.
Yeah, and I think it's just massive for the club, and it's massive for the direction of the club. So, who's been your player of the season?
It's a difficult one. If you asked me at the start of the season, when Gerrard left, it would be difficult because there's no one really that was that impressive. But now it's difficult because there are so many. Watkins' run cannot be undermined. I know he's gone a bit quiet recent weeks, but that was really impressive run of form from him. Ramsey, how many times has he turned up in big games? I think he's been excellent. And obviously it's the awards evening tonight as well. So it'll be very interesting to see how they go. For me personally, I'd probably have to say Douglas Luiz, because he's consistently been in that middle of the park and just broke up play. He has been what Kamara has been on that level throughout the season, obviously without the injuries. If Kamara had stayed fit all season, it would probably have been him. But Luiz has been just as good in that middle of the park and for pretty much every game as well.
I agree. I think he's my player. I think he's been absolutely fantastic. I think he's probably outside the top 4, one of the best midfielders outside the top 4. I think he's that good, and he's getting better. Like every time I watch him, I think you're getting better. Like you're slowing it down, you're pacing it up, your accuracy's great.
He just dominates the game. Yeah, he dominates the game in a way of, we will play how Douglas Luiz is playing. So if Douglas Luiz is having a great game, we'll have a great game. But then if he's having a not so good game, maybe misplacing a few passes, then our performance drops. But it's very little where his performance drops. So we are normally on top of our game. But for instance, the Wolves games when we just dropped below those levels, it was because Luis didn't have a great game, and then that's what spirals basically.
Yeah. So, what would your score prediction be for Sunday?
Well, Emery always has a plan, doesn't he? So they're obviously a team that love to attack, and then it's the counter attack that does them. So he'll definitely play into that. I think if we nick an early goal like a Brentford, like a Newcastle, and catch them by surprise, I think we'll win it. I think we'll win 3-1. I'll go with a 3-1. I think we'll score late on to cement it and send Villa Park into brave.
I'm not leaving. I'm sitting in my seat till next season. I am. I'm not leaving, because once you're out that ground, you got to go home for the summer, ain't you? Yeah. So thanks for coming on, mate.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
And finally, James, how you doing, mate?
All right, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How you feeling ahead of the weekend?
Confident. Well, after the World Cup, I've been confident pretty much every game. To be fair, just cool. Looking forward to it. So,
are you going to be there on Sunday?
I'm hoping to be. So, just waiting to see whether I've got a late ticket. So.
Cool. So, going into the game, then, how do you see it playing out?
I'd take 1-0 all day long, boring 1-0. But hopefully the lads full Villa Park, put on a show and see some goals. So everyone goes home.
So talking about goals, who would you say what's been your goal of the season?
There's been quite a few. So that's a tricky one. That I've always quite like Dougie's from the corner flag. From the corner there, but
he banged a few in that little spell, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he was doing good. Player of the season, who would you go with?
Well, I would say Douglas Luiz. I always thought there was a player there. We just had to give him time and nurture him a bit. And under Umar, it looks like he's got a coach that can work with him, and he's just going to get better. So.
Cool. Right. Fantastic stuff, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Luke. Cheers. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa. Cool. So that's the end of our football phoning for this episode. Nice little teaser to whet the appetite going into all of the content. So we have got up next will be the match preview for Aston Villa v Brighton, with a special little announcement for the channel, which is going to be massive. Then we are going to have our predicted lineup, in-depth analysis on how Brighton play. I've already started doing my research for that episode as well, so that's going to be a big one. We've got an opposition preview, which is going to be out on Friday. I'm really excited to have this guest on. I know him from the Content Creating Awards. So, great guy. And then we've got the press conference as well. So, opposition preview might be out on Saturday, actually. And then we've got press conference out on Friday, unless Unai throws a spanner, and then we'll have to just mix it all up again. So cheers everyone for watching. Close to 12k now. If anyone wants to watch my episode of Messi to Aston Villa, that was out earlier on as well. I didn't start the rumours, so there we go. A certain Aston Villa player has mentioned Messi to Villa, so go back and check that one out. So cheers everyone. Up the Villa.